I'm actually going to take credit for this one as the smartest man alive, because I've been warning against this for years now. You cannot allow the stakes of these elections to be determined entirely by American treat-Larite gas prices or whatever the idea that in reality the only thing that matters to the American public is whether or not their gas costs $3 a gallon or $5 a gallon or $2.56 a gallon, and you're like, well, okay, maybe Donald Trump is disappearing political enemies, and he's gutted the administrative state, and he's breaking the federal government, and he's disregarding judges, and he's breaking the law, and blah, blah, blah. Maybe he's like, you know, the worst president we've had since Buchanan. Maybe everything's going to shit. Maybe our enemies hate us, or sorry, our allies hate us and our enemies love us. Maybe everything's going wrong. But you know what really matters? Americans didn't vote for the treats to be 20% more expensive. Fuck you! I don't give a shit how expensive they are. The suffering is happening on a broader scale than this. It's like you are defining, it's like an abusive relationship, and you are defining the harm along one metric when there are 500. Like, you have an abusive partner and you measure the good days or the bad days by whether or not they gave you hugs or something. When there's a million other things, the negative consequences, you know, the mean comments or the snide remarks or the not doing the chores or the like physically abusing you, but they hug you after, so that's a +1. There are, like, the country is being destroyed in so many ways, and by focusing exclusively on the inflation bit, we are implicitly signaling that that is the only valid marker. And I don't think that's true. You know what I think? I think that people are capable of enduring great personal sacrifice if it's for a greater cause. That's what the right's doing right now. The right was only pretending to give a shit about inflation. In reality, now every single one of them is like, glory be to Trump. I will endure this hardship if it means that we get our glorious white ethno-state at the end of it. I think people are willing to suffer. We've done it during essentially every war that mattered at all. So World War II, the Civil War, and I guess the Revolutionary War, War of 1812, I don't fucking know. We need to stop pretending that this is a battle over like incremental, you know, economic fiddling, and is actually a battle over the heart and soul of this country. You know, we need to be active advocates. This is how trans people got thrown under the bus, by the way. This is what the Kamala Harris campaign did with them as well. They, well, no, actually, people don't care about virtue, morality, good things versus bad things. What people care about is like an extra $10,000 to their first home, and they want prices to go down or something like that. No, people care about lots of things. Most people, more than anything else, care about their friends and family. They care about little bits of humanity in their life. They care about their morning walk. They care about the nice cashier at the supermarket they go to, who they think may or may not have a little bit of a crush in them, and they think it's kind of cute. You go over and talk to them, and it's a pleasant part of your day. People care about human things. But the Democrats, they're not human. The liberals, they're not human. The Republicans certainly aren't fucking human. So none of them, to them, the closest glimpses of humanity and like moral incense that we get in the government is when Republicans beat their chest and say, we think, you know, the rape is good. When Republicans argue about how like actually pedophilia is fine as long as it's not gay people, or like a white ethno-state is worth any amount of suffering to get to it. Like that, so the only like positions of virtue that we apparently are willing to fight over is defensively against active vice signaling. To be fair, Democrats talk a lot about the soul of the country and people don't give a fuck. Yeah, because you don't talk. No one fucking talks about the soul of the country. That's because that's insane. If you talk, if you had a friend who was going down a dark path or whatever because they were like, I don't know, abusing drugs or like neglecting themselves or not, like they're letting their life fall apart, you don't walk up to them and say, listen, I'm concerned about the soul of the virtue of your being and the heart that you have, which gleams in the night sky, which shines brightest in the dark because the sky is gone, but the stars are most visible. No, you just talk to them. The reason the Democrats float that flimsy, insincere bullshit is because they think that's what sounds best in their soulless committee meetings filled with people who will then, after they're done consulting for the Democrats, go work for fucking Northrop Grumman or whatever the fuck, you know? They're not people. Like, they ain't like us, okay? But people want you to be an active advocate for issues that mean something to them. There's a reason why Bernie Sanders is the most popular senator in the country. Whatever, I've been rambling for... the inflation is immaterial. People will suffer if they're given reason to. The Canadians are, the Europeans are. Americans just have nothing to suffer for. What are we suffering for? The right to more suffering? How do we get out of this mess without a civil war? I don't really think a civil war would... It's not like... The differences aren't very regional. It's mostly a city versus rural thing. But unfortunately, like, I really do mean it. This country's recovery will be built on a system of absolute political deconstruction of the opposition, you know? Like, it goes beyond just the Republican Party. They're collaborators in media, the people who... And we can unwind everything, you know? The judges can discover whatever they want. The black ties of money... Do you have any idea how much money circulates? I'm not just talking like from Russia or whatever. I'm saying like there is a direct financial connection between the Republican Party, Fox News, OAN obviously, but also like Republican influencers. People like Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn. Money all around, very direct ties, very direct quid pro quos. Who do I email? What do I get in my emails? I get Ralph Lauren you know, spring summer 2025 updates. What do these people get in their emails? They get quid pro quos, okay? A total deconstruction of the apparatus is vital, because otherwise it'll just rebuild, and they'll just try to find another guy who doesn't have the same baggage, who will advance the exact same eliminationist, anti-human, demonic political effort just from a different angle. Their fascism is idiosyncratic. They can take any angle they want. Here's Donald Trump. He's the ritzy glitzy car salesman, you know, East Coast billionaire fascist. Haha. Oh, here's the next guy. He's like a edgy mustache and mullet former Nick Fuentes viewer, now disassociates with him, 37-year-old, probably a pedophile fascist. Whoa, what a different angle. Oh, here's this guy. He's an evangelist, but he's not one of those evangelists. He's one of the cool new ones who actually wants to use it in an an atheistic sense to advance humans' interests, approaching religion like a social constructionist tool rather than as a doctrinal ideology. Oh, but he's a fascist. Oh! Like, they can come at this from any angle they want, man. As long as the financial ties are there, as long as the connections are still there, they'll just keep doing it over and over and over again. Bro, you need to fix your damn country. I'm working on it. Is it okay if I tell the UAW to go fuck itself? The UAW is a pro-fascist organization now. Unions have their place, but remember, unions are only interested in looking out for their own. They're not broadly pro-worker, and they're certainly not broadly anti-fascist. Fascists are broadly anti-union, but apparently that's not like that. That kind of political foresight hasn't really occurred to UAW. It's difficult to use unions as a valid basis for building dual power when the average union member is a fat, stupid white guy in a rural area. You know what I mean? Like, the median, bulk of union members you're getting are like Midwestern suburban dads who are white. Yeah, you're good. Like, these unions aren't going to vote in their own interest because they're politically uneducated. And that's a uniquely American problem, to be honest. Yeah, I'm talking about UAW. That's why I mentioned Midwest. I'm sorry. Did you think I was referring to the Midwest of France? France, Michigan? It's actually not real rust unless it's made in the Michigan district of France. What are you talking about? Your stance on union members and union membership is 100% incorrect. What the fuck? You can literally look at the political disposition of the Teamsters Union or of UAW if you want. I'm not going to argue with you against. You can go outside and check the color of the sky if you want to. Sean Fain is literally supporting the tariffs. He's literally adopting and supporting the fascist messaging of our fascist president. It's not like I don't respect that. I'm sorry. You can't just be pro-union if your union is of right-wingers and you then go ahead and sell out the country because you think it'll bolster American manufacturing. That's literally just two unions? Yeah, it's two of the biggest unions. That's what I'm talking. Those are the unions I'm talking about, Dennis the Peasant. I'm not anti-union. I'm talking about those unions. You see me talking about teachers' unions or public sector unions? I'm talking about those unions. You mean O'Brien? No. Sean Fain, UAW, tariff statement. Why are you arguing with me? UAW, Sean Fain backs Trump's auto tariffs to protect American jobs. Mostly I'm just mad about Sean Fain here. Like, how the fuck are you gonna, we're gonna do a general strike to promote the interests of workers in the United States, and then you do this shit? What the fuck are you talking about? Can you explain why this is happening? Unions exist only to protect the workers in the union. That's it. And the union head gets elected there. It's a democratic organization, nominally. So if you've got, and keep in mind, it's UAW, auto workers, there are a lot of conservatives in UAW. If you've got a bunch of auto workers there, and Trump is saying, I'm going to bring back the auto jobs, I'm going to tariff Canadian or European or Chinese or whatever the fuck vehicles so that they get built here. In Mexico, they're not going to build our cars anymore. They're going to build our plants here. You've got a bunch of UAW members who are hyped up about the idea of more auto manufacturing jobs coming up to the United States. So if your only interest is protecting the workers in the union, it's like, okay. Now, the problem with this is that Donald Trump's political successes are fuel for an anti-union and anti-worker agenda. So in the long run, this is a terrible strategy. This literally would be like being a German union worker and being like, well, Hitler says he's not going to bring in foreigners anymore. We're not going to have to deal with, like, I don't know, Prussians. No, there weren't Prussians at that point. We're not going to deal with Poles or whatever. Poles aren't going to come here and take our jobs. Finally, now us German auto workers at Volkswagen or whatever the fuck, now we can, secure our higher wages. Of course, union organizers were killed by Hitler. They were one of the first people killed by Hitler. One of the first peoples, groups, whatever. Very short-sighted. This is why I defend the Starbucks union, by the way, because the average Starbucks barista is a polyamorous, polycule-having, blue-haired, pansexual communist, Now that's an ally both to their own worker interests and the global proletariat. The Starbucks union leader in New York City is dog shit. Well, every political leader from New York City is dog shit, apparently.